Welcome to FBB Forum. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe, and please tell your friends about this podcast. I'm super stoked to try something a little different today, and I have two guests on the show. The amazing IFBB Women's Physique Pro competitor, Andrea Alonso, and her awesome coach, Rob Andrea. Angela recently celebrated her pro debut at the Daytona Pro Show and placed in the top 5 in a very tough lineup of 22 women. And Rob has been working with Andrea for 2.5 years now. And I think he was really pleased with her success in Daytona. Oh, and did I mention that Andrea is a natural competitor? I think that's pretty impressive too. Stay tuned to find out where Andrea will compete next. Welcome, Andrea and Rob. I'm really glad to have you all here.
Great to be here.
Yeah, hey, David. It was great meeting you in Daytona, and thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really nice to meet you too. And we had that brief interview, which you can also view on my YouTube channel here. So yeah, thank you. So I wanted to ask you just how you got started in bodybuilding and whether you had an athletic or a sports background before you started.
Yeah, so I actually was a competitive middle distance and long distance runner. And I started pretty young, ever since I was 8. I always joke around with my brothers. I have 2 older brothers, and so we always used to chase each other around the house. So maybe that's where I got my my sporting start at. But I was a really good competitive runner. I went to Junior Olympics from the time I was like 8 until 13, 14.
Wow.
And then I stopped running. I just didn't have a passion for it anymore. But being a middle distance runner, you still want to maintain a little bit of muscle mass so you can have that kind of speed. And so there was one day a week where my track coach would take me to the gym to lift weights, and I just found that I really loved it. So when I stopped running, I was like, oh, I still enjoy weights, so let me try that as my daily exercise now.
Okay.
And then pretty soon, I fell in love with it. Just pump and iron. That's a great way to de-stress and everything. And a coach in the gym took notice. And he kind of encouraged me to do my first competition. This was back in 2013.
Okay.
So it was a really small prep, a very small competition. Honestly, I feel bad. I don't even remember the name of it.
Okay.
But that was in 2013. It was a very small local show.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started.
That's really cool. What did you start in? Which division?
Well, they didn't even have women's physique in that show back then.
Oh, wow.
So it was women's bodybuilding.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's old school before all the splitting divisions and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd like to add something on that.
Sure.
A lot of people don't know that also Andrea, when we went into nationals to get the pro card, she also was in both divisions, both bodybuilding and women's physique.
Oh, wow.
And we narrowly missed getting a double pro card in bodybuilding. I forget the young lady's name, but we came in second to a really good women's bodybuilder that had some good experience. And so I just wanted to add that. And the show before, the first show that we did together, she also did, that was the Andrea, which one was that? The Miami Muscle?
Yeah, the Miami Beach show.
Okay.
The Miami Beach show. She also did Physique. That was right before nationals. She did women's physique and bodybuilding, and she won the overalls in both those shows.
Wow.
Just wanted to add that in there.
That's terrific. That's really good. And I think a double pro card is pretty impressive. That would be pretty awesome to have that. It's so good to come close like that too.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I bet it was thrilling. Now, I was curious, when you first started competing, did you have kind of a fitness role model that when you first started?
Yeah, I always looked up to Kai Green.
Oh, yeah.
And I think because, I really do just passionately just love bodybuilding. I love the discipline, like developing the regimen, sticking to it, just having all my meals planned out, all my workouts planned out. There's something about it that's almost like meditating to me. I'm just meditating my entire prep. I'm just going through the motions, and I know everything's going to be okay as long as I follow what that man tells me to do.
That's perfect.
And I know Kai Green has always been, huge about mindset and like really the love and the passion for bodybuilding. So I really always looked up to him, especially when I initially started. Yeah.
Yeah, his posing is amazing too. I think he has so much passion in his posing, I think,
Oh yeah, he's very talented. I mean, I've seen all of his documentaries of him attending ballet classes just to kind of learn the movement better, and he really puts his all into it.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Yeah. I was curious if you have a fitness role model now, or a different one, or is it still Kai?
Still Kai, I feel like, well, now that I know more about bodybuilding and as women's physique has developed as a division, I'm a huge fan of Sarah Villegas's physique.
Yeah.
Just very feminine, very 3D, very, very proportional. I think she has one of my favorite physiques on stage.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, the female bodybuilding channel just posted a recent pictures of her, and she looks amazing right now.
Yeah, 30 days out, and she looks like she's about ready to step on stage.
I know, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know you guys have plans to have Andrea compete in the Ben Weider Natural Pro Show in November, which is an Olympia qualifier. And I was curious, and this is to Rob too, will you have time to grow for this show, or will you try to stay lean since it's only a few weeks away?
Well, once you get into 5, 6 weeks away like that, that's really not time. There's really not time there to make any real gains in muscle and stuff. But what that does give us time is that gives us time to fine tune and dial up what she has even better for the next one.
Yeah.
And we're looking to come in even better for this one than we were in Daytona. We're looking to come in and blow their doors off.
That's great. And get the Olympia qualification too would be good.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing.
And that's for next year. That's for 2024. Yeah.
That's for 2024. I know that's a big dream of Andrea's. That was a dream for mine on the athlete front. I'm just not going to quite make it there. But, if I could live through her and see the experience of her doing it, that probably means more than anything anyway. So
that's terrific. Yeah, I know what you mean. I kind of live vicariously through these bodybuilders too that I interview. I think I was trying to cheer them and pump them up too. Make them because these women are just amazing.
They're amazing, especially the women. I really want to see the women get better and better. I want to see bigger payouts for the women. They deserve it. It's harder to be this level of an athlete than a man. I'm not saying it's not hard for a man, but for a female to do this sport and look good, and I mean, it takes a lot, and I believe there's more due respect that should come, and hopefully we're in the right direction.
I think so too. I think you guys are in the right direction, definitely, and I think the sport is too. I hope that there's bigger payouts over time too. So I bet, Andrea, but it was a thrill to compete in Daytona in your pro debut and get top 5 in that tough lineup. What was your experience like in Daytona? And also Rob too, what did you think about Daytona?
I mean, I had a great time, honestly, just going in there. I was really excited even to meet some of the women I was competing against, because I've been a big fan of Marie's physique for a while now. Heather Gray's is also a huge name in the industry, and she's been competing for a while. So it was really great getting to meet her. I was a fan of Whitney Armstrong's as well. So I knew a lot of those women, and I asked them for some pictures backstage. So I was really excited to just meet them and just be able to experience my first pro show. Of course, I always want to do my best. I am a competitive person. But honestly, I just love bodybuilding so much that I was just happy to be there more than anything and just experience it all.
That's terrific. What do you think, Rob, of the show?
Oh, I thought the show was excellent. I've watched, my wife and I, we were at the very first Daytona show, and we just watched that show get bigger and bigger. They've just done a great job. And another thing too, Daytona, after the Puerto Rico, after we couldn't do that show, I came up with the Daytona idea. It gave us a little more time, but the reason one of the reasons that I decided to go with Daytona is Daytona really, in a way, it was a home game for Andrea and I. Even though she's in Ohio now and I'm in Alabama, where we spent time in the Florida NPC. My wife and I coached in all the shows there for many years, and just to be able to go to Daytona at that home show, and for Andrea to perform the way she did, and to just to put an excellent package together, it was just even more special in Florida.
That's terrific.
And
This was
I also.
Oh, go ahead, Andrea.
No, sorry. No, I also want to add it was really special experience because that was the first competition that Rob was able to come to. So we got to experience it together, and his wife Linda was also there, who also helps with my prep. So honestly, I think that made it like an amazing experience. The fact that they drove down from Alabama just to be there with me and cheer me on.
That's terrific. Yeah, I love that. I think that's really good. One thing that I was thinking too, this was the first year that women's open physique was included at Daytona. So that was kind of nice to have that, and still kept the masters divisions too. So it was really quite a good show. I especially, more women's divisions than men's. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and I thought it was a really competitive lineup, especially for it being the first year of, like you said, having the women's open physique. I was very impressed by all the women there.
I was too. I didn't expect that many women. It was great from a fan perspective to see that many, and I kind of regret missing the prejudging. I had a work event that I had to attend, so I couldn't attend the prejudging. But I was really pleased to be there for the finals, and it was a really good show. And I kind of like the venue too. It was kind of interesting with the seats up in the basketball arena stands, and then the VIP seats down on the floor there. It was cool.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Yeah.
It was a great experience.
Yeah. What they did was truly pretty interesting how he did it, because between the NPC and the IFBB, they had so many competitors that they, at different hours of each day, they scheduled them. And it really, it broke that up so it wasn't utter chaos,
That's true.
It seemed like the final started on time for the pros too. So it did seem to work okay.
I think they had over 300 pros.
Wow. That's a lot. Oh my gosh.
That's 300 pros, 250 NPC, I heard.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, it was a 2-day event. I couldn't see why they needed to do that. That's a lot. Now, I was curious, Andrea, what's been your favorite bodybuilding show so far? Maybe this one, the Daytona?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it would have to be between, getting my pro card, because I mean, that was my first goal, was to get my pro card, and that was a beautiful experience winning the competition. But then also this last one, not only bringing my first pro show, but honestly, being able to share it with my family that was there. Unfortunately, I was only able to go alone to the first show, and truly big believer that it's just not the same if you don't have people to share your success with.
Yeah.
So I have to say, so far, just being able to experience it with Rob there, my mom there, Rob's family came. That's the other thing I love about bodybuilding. It really is a team sport.
Yeah.
And so having the rest of the team there was awesome.
I bet. That's great. Yeah, I got to meet your mom, and she's really terrific. It was really fun talking with her, and she's really nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Astrid's great. I've trained Astrid too.
Oh, you have, really?
Yeah. Well, how Andrea and I first met. For about 5 or 6 years, I owned a bodybuilding gym in Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of athletes going out of there for years. And, that's where I first met Andrea, and I got to know her family. I know her brother really well, too. They were in between moving places, and he was down in Melbourne for a while coming into my gym. So, yeah, the whole family's really great. And it's great to see the passion and the support they give to Andrea.
Yeah, that's great. Is that how you know Sherry too? Because I think Sherry used to go to your gym.
Yeah, Sherry is actually a good friend of my wife and I. We have known Sherry for many years,
Very
and we
cool.
know Sherry since she started. And yeah, Sherry's great person, great friend to us. And Sherry even going into nationals, going into Andrea's first show in nationals. Sherry also worked with Andrea a little bit, helping up with some posing tips and stuff. I can't say, I can't say too many nice words about Sherry. A well-rounded, amazing person.
Terrific. Yeah, she did great at Rising Phoenix. I thought she deserved higher than seventh. I thought, but yeah, because
Yeah,
she's really
yeah, we thought so too. I had her, I'll tell you, man, that lineup and that field, women's bodybuilding, and women's physique as well, but women's bodybuilding now, there are some I'll call it hammers. And what a hammer is, they're at that show, and they're going to hammer it down. And we got women in the top 10 women now are unbelievable. So it was stiff competition, but Sherry went in there, looked great, and I had her in I had her in the first call out. I mean, that conditioning was lights out. I mean, and you never know. Sometimes it's very close, but I had her at least in that first call out in fifth or sixth. My wife and I both felt that way.
Yeah, I thought that too, first call out for her. So yeah. Um, Now I was curious, Andrea, did you have a chance to talk with judges after Daytona and find out where they want you to improve your physique?
Yeah, I've reached out for their official critiques. I haven't heard back yet, but honestly, I mean, I want to keep improving for the lifetime that I do the sport. So I'm always going to be my own biggest critic.
Sure.
So Rob and I know what what I have to work on my physique, and as soon as the Ben Weider is over, it's gonna be go time. We're not letting our foot off the gas, no matter what comes next, no matter what happens at the Weider. There's definitely opportunities for me to improve my physique, and that's what we're going to work on the next off season.
Okay, that's terrific. Yeah, very cool.
We plan to show the world what a real woman's physique looks like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think just the fact that you're staying natural, I think is really impressive. And to get fifth too, out of the 22 and be a natural, I think is really impressive.
It can be done. It can be done. Any man or woman can improve. It takes more time, and there's a lot. It's tricky in the prep. It's tricky. It's very tricky. Peaking and the timing when you're doing a show like Andrea just did. It's not an easy thing, but if you dial in and your athlete and you're doing things right, it takes a longer time, but I'll tell all the ladies, it can be done. I mean,
that's very good.
Yeah.
No, it is. That's good to hear.
But I also just want to say, just being natural is just a personal choice that I made for me. And I in no way do I think women who make the choice to not be natural is wrong or anything
Sure.
like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they all still look amazing, beautiful, and despite if they are taking enhancements or not, it still takes a lot of work day to day with time in the gym, with their diet. So in no way do I think that is wrong. It's just the personal decision I made for myself.
Sure. No, I totally understand that. And that definitely makes sense. Yeah. No, I just think, yeah, you just look so good on stage. So now I was curious, in terms of prep, what would you say is the kind of the toughest aspect of competition prep for you?
And I mean, so to be honest, it's the diet, right? Because I don't want to say any bad words on the podcast, but how Ronnie Coleman used to say, everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but don't nobody want to lift no heavy, blank weight. I won't say the word, but I feel everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but doesn't anybody want to do the diet?
Yeah, that's the toughest part in my opinion.
So that's definitely the toughest part. I mean, you can go in the gym and you can lift 3 hours a day, weights out the wazoo, but if you don't do the diet, it's not going to come. You're not going to be a bodybuilder.
Sure.
So that's definitely the most difficult part. But once Rob and I get focused and we have a goal, there's a switch that turns, and it's very black and white. It's on this day we start prep and there's no going back. I'll worry about, having satisfying my cravings in 6 months when we're done, but there's no looking back.
Wow, that's
Flip
impressive.
switch just flips and it's go time.
I think that would be so tough. I just feel like the bodybuilding diet's kind of monotonous too. I think that would drive me a little crazy too.
Yeah, well, Rob's great. He always asks me, hey, is there anything that you feel like you need? And like I said, if we're at a good spot and I need a cheat meal, we'll incorporate that. But it's taken a lot of experimentation on my part too, in terms of seasoning. And I think I've cooked chicken just about any way that I possibly can, and I've just found what I enjoy most. So honestly, now it's just like I said, I've gotten used to it. I think the first prep an athlete does is always going to be the hardest because your body's kind of shocked. It's like, when what's happening? When do I get my food back? But I think every prep I've done since then has been a lot easier, a lot more doable. And I think honestly that's thanks to Rob as well, because we've done it very gradually, and he always asks me for my feedback and everything.
That's great.
Go
ahead, Rob.
I do it old school. I'm an old school kind of guy than we did it, the way we do it. Everything is based in whole foods. There's a lot of timing, a lot of thinking, and nothing fancy. She's going to eat what I tell her to eat. I'm not a macro guy. Go eat whatever you want. The only macros for our meals are the macros that what I say is contained. That's our macros.
Okay.
I'm a very old school the way I do it. The thing is that when you're doing it that way, it can be hard sometimes because you're on specific things. But Andrea just puts her head down and never complains, and that helps along with everything. And it's just she's eating a lot. We're pushing the food, and we eat as much as we can for all the different stages. So
great. Yeah, that's very good. And I think that's good advice too for folks too to hear, from this podcast as well.
Way too many people make it way too confusing.
Mm-hmm.
We're always want to learn. You want to learn new stuff, and that's absolutely great. Both myself and Andrea are both a sponge. We're always eager to learn, but there's certain principles you stick to, and to go crazy with some things is just really a waste of time. I mean, I see it all the time.
I think old school is good. Definitely. Now, Andrea, I was curious, do you have a hard time dealing with that kind of transition between competition shape and off-season shape? Because I think some ladies kind of go through that kind of body dysmorphia, but as a fan, I kind of like all the phases that y'all ladies go through, but just curious about your take on that.
Well, first off, I appreciate you saying that, David.
Thank you.
That you appreciate all the phases. I really appreciate that. So that's a very broad topic, right? And I feel like in our society today, women feel a lot of pressure to look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'll be completely honest with, the fans out there. Yeah, when you go from I've never actually measured my body fat, but just estimating maybe around 5% body fat, to having to bulk up for the off season, and the clothes start fitting a little bit tighter and everything. Yeah, it can mess with your head. But one thing that definitely helps me is just having a goal. And that's helped me with everything in my life, with bodybuilding, with my work career. And, after the weeder's over, Rob and I have discussed, hey, this is going to be the goal, whether it's to put 5 pounds of muscle here because 2 pounds of muscle are going to go here. And I already told him, we're already thinking ahead. I was like, you tell me what to do. And if you need me to get up to 170, 180, whatever it may be, I'm going to do it, right? Because you have that goal in mind. Mm-hmm. And just day to day, just focus on the day to day. You do whatever it takes to get to that goal. So that's what's helped me. And just getting to that goal, knowing that the goal is yours. You have a passion for that goal. You have a love for that goal. You're not doing it because it's what somebody else expects of you, because this is what society expects of you. As long as you're happy and you're doing what brings you joy, and you have that goal, that's what personally helps me kind of go through the obstacles, is the destination I'm getting to.
Sure. I think that's really good advice. I was curious with Rob, did you kind of have to help Andrea through that? Because I think coaches do help with that kind of mental aspect of bodybuilding too.
Well, yes, that's absolutely true. And there's part of my job is there's at certain times there's things to say and there's things not to say too. Obviously, I look at something, or I'm looking at her, and I'm formulating a plan, or I'm seeing how she looks. I'm gathering all the information I can with that, but that doesn't necessarily mean at that time I'm telling her everything I'm thinking.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm very careful. I want her to feel like, and she is, I want her to feel like she's Superwoman all the time. So there's a lot of saying things at the right time to the help. And in certain situations with timing, there's things not to say. And, over the years, coaching a lot of people, I've learned more and more how to do that.
I understand. Just a question for both of you guys, and we've already touched on it a little bit, but what advice would y'all give to someone looking for a good coach that are, just starting out in bodybuilding?
Oh, the number one thing before anything is you got to find a coach that cares about you.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. I mean, you got people all over, different ones pop up on the internet every day. I'm a coach. Even some of them have a name, might have a famous name. That doesn't mean they're a good coach if they're not, they could be, but that doesn't always mean that they are a good coach. So, a coach that cares about you, number one, cares for their athlete, pays attention to them, doesn't make them just a number, get on a personal level. It should be a very good line of communication. Good, bad, and ugly, you should communicate back and forth. Andrea and I have arguments sometimes. There's certain things that come up. We hash it out and move on like a brother and sister. I mean, it's just so important, that part of it. And then, of course, after that part, you want to have someone that has knowledge, and not only knowledge, but willing to learn more knowledge. Anyone thinks that they know it all, no matter who they are, they're ignorant. You can never stop learning. You can always learn no matter what you do. A lot of how I've modeled my life, no matter what I do, to be the best I can, is to continually learn.
That's a good message.
I completely agree with everything Rob said. And I have step-by-step instructions for anybody out there watching looking for a coach. Open up the Instagram app. Write @Ironman Fitness 1 and message this guy. Step-by-step instructions, or Ironman Fitness, and give him a message. Done.
I like that. And that's a good plug. And Rob, I'm assuming you're accepting new clients.
Yes, I'm accepting new clients, and I'm truly interested. I'm truly interested and have the passion for the sport, and I would want clients that feel the same way. Not necessarily, it doesn't matter what your level is. I do competitors and non-competitors. I get a lot of people ready for the military and the police. That's something the last couple of years I've really concentrated on. The military, the police, fire department, armed forces. I mean, that's something that I've done. I've been doing this a long time. I grew up, my mother was a nutritionist. I grew up learning about it. I was the kid in the lunchroom that had peppers and vegetables as my snack, while other kids had potato chips. So I had that background. My dad was a bodybuilder. My dad's 75 years old now. He was a bodybuilder. He never bodybuilded competitively, but he worked out in a gym in New York. He worked out at a pros gym and with all the guys while they were prepping. They always wanted him to compete, but he had other things in life in his career, but he always was in the gym bodybuilding with serious people. I learned a lot from him. I was a competitive athlete my whole life, and I just, as time went on, I've learned more and more. And then getting into competitors and everything, I've just gained knowledge and gained more knowledge, and applied what I've learned in life. And like I said, I just keep on learning, and when once you get with an athlete, a specific athlete, it doesn't matter if they're, someone like Natalia or Sarah or, any of the top guys. Once you I lost my train of thought there for a second.
Oh, no problem.
Let me tell you this too, Brian. I have a friend who was using a coach, and he's getting closer to his competition. He did not feel like he was ready for it. And I told him, reach out to Rob. In 1 week from working from Rob, this guy's like, oh my God.
Oh.
Like the progress that he's seen after 1 week of Rob fixing up his plan, his cardio, his food, he's seen strides of different compared to working with this, this other coach for months. I'm not going to say any names or anything, but
Sure.
I mean, I've seen it. I'm saying it, not only me, but this guy, like Rob is, again, the mad genius prep. He knows what he's doing. And he's an amazing coach.
Andrea came up with that idea. I'm lean, and I think we might have a little change here where we're changing it to Mad Genius Prep.
Oh yeah, the name of the company. Yeah, or the name.
I used to have we used to have another team I used to have another team going for a while, a popular team that was under my prep, that when I had the other gym, and it's just time to move on and change that a little bit. So Andrea kind of during this last show came up. She's like, why did you do this and this for my adjustment? I can't believe how it worked. You're a mad genius.
Oh.
We've just been kind of joking about that. So I think heading into the weeder here coming up, we're gonna have a little surprise, and I think we got something going there.
I love it. I think that's terrific. Yeah.
Because one of the things also, my wife has prepped a lot of people too. My wife is a former competitor and very educated in all of this too. So we were all getting a kick and kind of having fun about that. So I think Andrea and I are working on it right now. I think it's time for a little, we got the same person, the same good prep and training and programs. We got Andrea, of course, but I think we're going to have a little name change.
Okay, I like it. I think that's terrific. I like it. It has a good ring to it for sure. I want to warn you, we only have like 2 minutes left. So I'm just going to ask you a real quick question, Andrea, about working. You said you're working as a physician, but do you kind of find it, and that's a tough job and it does take a lot of time, but do you find it hard to juggle your work obligations with your hobby, which is bodybuilding? You mentioned it's your hobby.
I kind of live by this principle in what I do, and then also in what I observe others do. I think if something is important enough for you, you will find the time, the energy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So to be completely honest with you, yeah, even though it takes up a lot of my time, I don't find it hard, because those are my two focuses, are my work and bodybuilding. And those are the two, my top two. And so no matter what I do, as long as I get those two done, that's what keeps me happy. And in a way, being in the gym and everything helps me de-stress from my work. So in a way, for me personally, because I love it so much, I think it helps me excel in both my career as a doctor and in my bodybuilding career as well, because I have a lot of the medical knowledge about nutrition and biochemistry and physiology that kind of helps guide me in my bodybuilding journey as well.
Terrific. We're almost out of time. Could you do a quick flex for me and talk real quick too? Oh, say something real quick, Andrea.
Yeah. Thanks so much, David, for doing this. And thanks everybody for following the Female Bodybuilding Forum. And yeah, thanks to all the fans for supporting bodybuilding women out there.
Thank you. And thank you to Rob too. Really appreciate you.
And real quick, we got to thank